If there are two men I absolutely cannot stand, it is West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin and Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville. One would think at least the latter has some ideas on how to pass a college sports bill, but no, not happening. Let me break down why this sucks. Let's go back a week ago with Rand Paul.
We used to be proud. Many of us loved watching amateur athletes that weren't paid. Now everybody that plays basketball in college is going to be driving a Bentley or a Rolls. I mean, we're going to be seeing rap stars instead of basketball stars. I mean, this is crazy.
It was racist. There is no doubt about it, guys. Jamil Hill called it a loud dog whistle, and Jay Billis, who we covered, agreed. So these two lawmakers, that being Joe Manchin, who has served in the Senate since 2010 and has been a proud pawn for fossil fuel companies and even took money from his daughter's company amid the EpiPen scandal, and Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, who is not actually from Alabama but gladly does the bidding of Fortune 500 companies, are used to taking advantage of the little guys. It is practically in their DNA. It is what they do. It is what they ascribe to. They share a common mantra, though, working on the part of the ruling class to make those who are underneath them and their living conditions brutal. Flat out brutal. Alas, is it any shock these two introduced a bill titled the Protecting Athletes, Schools, and Sports Act of 2023, a catchy title that serves little purpose. So what is in it exactly? I'm going to tell you the biggest part. The most glaring point, per Manchin's own website, moderate the transfer portal by requiring student athletes, I love how they use that outdated term, to complete their first 3 years of academic eligibility before allowing them to transfer without penalty, subject to a few exceptions. Well, that's all. Quick story time. Come with me as I present this to you. While at Texas Tech, Tommy Tuberville was reported to have attended a dinner with at least 3 recruits. According to Devontae Danzy, a fellow recruit at the time, Tuberville excused himself from the table midway through the meal, and he would never return. Danzy added, the waitress brought our food out, and we thought Tuberville went to the bathroom, but he never came back to dinner. The next thing I know, the next day he made an announcement that he's going to Cincinnati. Another story? Please follow me at Ole Miss. Tuberville proclaimed, they'll have to carry me out of here in a pine box. In essence, saying he is never leaving the school. And what's that SpongeBob meme? A few moments later, here's what happened. Roughly 48 hours passed, and Tubbs boarded a private jet courtesy of Auburn University, and he took the job with the Tigers. So why did Tuberville do this? Why did Manchin do this? It's quite simple. Do as I say, not as I do. It is to limit the power shift in college sports with at least this pair. A fair passage in the bill would be keeping that same energy for coaches like Tuberville or Lane Kiffin or anyone of the like who jump ship at the next opportunity and leave their athletes they recruited and beg their parents to trust them with behind. What will likely be added is, okay, you can transfer if a coach leaves. However, insiders reporting, based on this, they spoke with 17 ex-college athletes who suffered psychological and emotional abuse from college coaches. One such coach at Texas Southern, named Cynthia Cooper Dyke, was found to have had a decade-long pattern of subjecting athletes to language, behavior, and punishment drills that some considered abusive. Cooper Dyke allegedly used overt and inappropriate sexual language with players, belittled them, pressed some to practice when they were injured, weight-shamed a player where she stopped eating in front of her coach and said that another one of her players who had a known mental health diagnosis wasn't depressed, but rather just needs some D-word. Players transfer for a myriad of reasons, and we have seen a lot of them, if at least you have followed collegiate sports. Forcing them to complete 3 years prior to moving on from a program where they are a body for the sports industrial complex is cruel. Important to note, what wise minds have they spoken to draft this bill? I'll tell you. Per the AP, they reached out to leaders in collegiate sports like commissioners of conferences. Oh, gee, I wonder what they'll say on how to limit players and athletes having power. Wow. Surprise, surprise. A big friend, longtime friend of Joe Manchin's, Alabama head coach Nick Saban. Do not be that gullible in thinking they never spoke on how Manchin should draft this bill. There's another red flag. The bill gives the NCAA what would effectively be an antitrust exemption in disguise. Oh, would you look at this? Section 9 says the NCAA shall establish rules to govern and provide oversight of schools. Those rules could include things well beyond NIL, like transfer rules and compensation limits in general. So all of those types of rules and others would potentially be immune from antitrust law under this bill. The NCAA has been begging for an antitrust exemption because that would shield it from litigation and give it the power to protect its amateurism model and deem athletes amateurs once and for all. The free market indeed, just not for thee.